So if you're tired of buying hard drives and tired of having a bunch of hard drives just sitting all around or on your desk, or you're just looking for a more professional way to store all of your footage, it's time to start thinking about a NAS. So NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. And essentially what this is anything that's on your local network can actually connect to your NAS itself. So essentially what it is a cloud for your own home, or technically your own server. So right here is my NAS. Here's my computer, and then the NAS is just sitting right under it. So what this one actually is one that I built myself. This is the very first computer that I've ever built. And my brother, in short, had the computer after I was done with it, after I built this one. And then I got it back from him and I turned it into a NAS. So taking a look inside of this NAS here, you can see that it's not very new or very updated parts. So what it really is an Intel 4690K DDR3 RAM, which there's 32 gigs in there, and then this card that allows me to have just 4 more SATA ports. And for the hard drives, I have 8 bays right here, which 7 of them are filled with the Iron Wolf 12 terabytes, and then this top one here is just a normal 1 terabyte Seagate drive, which that is what I use for the boot. And one of the benefits of using a NAS though is that you could actually edit right off of the NAS. So you could start editing off of one computer and then save the entire project, make sure it's saved on the NAS of course, and then pick right back up on another computer. So this is highly beneficial though if you're in an office space and you're working with multiple other people, and say you're the one who's just going to put the rough edit together, and then another person needs to color it, or another person needs to work on the audio, then a NAS is definitely the best solution for that. And this is where I was saying it's essentially like your own cloud system. So there are many options when it comes to a NAS. You could do something like I did, where I took an old computer and turned it into a NAS, or you could actually buy a pre-built from like Synology or QNAP. So the benefits of building your own NAS though is that you get to pick out all the different components, you get to pick out the speeds, and you also know a little bit more about the NAS itself. Now the benefits of buying a Synology or a QNAP NAS, one of these pre-built ones, is that it's really just like a plug and play option. The way that I kind of look at them is that if you build it yourself is like building your own PC in Windows, and then buying a Synology or QNAP is more of like a Mac, where it's going to be more of a plug and play option. Now these pre-built options are going to be a little bit more expensive than building it yourself, just because of course you have to pay for the service, and then they come with their own softwares and stuff that you have to use. But they are very beneficial though if you don't want to learn a whole lot about NASs, and you could just buy it, put your drives in, and then just make sure that it's all working properly. But while building it yourself, you actually get to learn the NAS itself a little bit more and understand more about what goes into the daily operations of your own NAS. So if something goes wrong, then you are reliable if you built it yourself, and you have to figure out all those different options and all the different workarounds with it. But there are a lot of things out there on Reddit, Linus Tech Tips, there's a lot of YouTube videos, and I'm sure that you could figure it out, because I'm figuring everything out on my own, all through YouTube and Reddit, and it's actually a lot easier than what you'd think it would be. But with the Synology or QNAP, one of the pre-builts, you actually can then reach out to them and they'll service it for you. So they'll troubleshoot any issues that arise from using their own products. But again, this is just relying on somebody else, and that's just not how I like to operate, and that's why I always like to know what each machine is that I'm using and how to troubleshoot all the different problems. Now, another benefit of using a NAS over any other hard drives though, is that if one of those external hard drives you're using fails, all your footage is gone unless you backed it up on something else. Now with the NAS, depending on how many drives that you actually put into it, you could choose all these different RAID options. Now what RAID is actually putting drives together to make one big drive. It's essentially what that is. You can look it up to see the exact definition of it, but in short, it's pretty much just bringing the drives to make them all work together and to just appear on your computer as one full drive. So with me having 7 drives, I'm allowed to use RAID 5. Now what RAID 5 does is actually combines all of the drives, so I have better performance and I have fault tolerance. So if one of the drives go bad, then I don't lose any of my footage. So all I have to do is replace that bad drive, put a new drive in there, and it should be up and running pretty fast. And this is just one of the benefits of RAID. You have RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 10. There's a whole bunch of different RAID arrays out there. And this is really where you have to do your own research to see which one's going to suit you best. But again, this is just going to give you that fault tolerance, so you can lose a drive without losing any data whatsoever. But that's perfect though, because if a drive does fail, you know that you actually have that fault tolerance, unlike using an external drive. And it's really good though, because if you're doing client work and you can't get back out there to shoot that same thing, then you're out of luck then at that point if your drive fails. But that's why I say this is a more professional option, just because you have that redundancy going on with your drives. So if one does fail with the client's project on it, then you know that that project is not lost. Now I didn't have any storage issues before because I did have 18 terabytes in my computer itself. And I just got this NAS put together a few months ago just because my brother needed to get rid of his computer and I took it back over. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity to start a NAS instead of working with 20,000 different drives. And just with my business too, this is my 3rd year in business. And I just want to make sure I'm at the right practices too, just in case I do need to bring somebody else on, and then it's just going to be super easy. As long as they're on my local network, they could connect to the NAS and start picking up where I left off. But if you did want to build the same NAS that I have, it will probably be the cheapest option for you since these parts are old, but I'll have all of those listed in the description below, along with the pre-builts that I recommend. I hope this video gave you a little insight and a little bit more knowledge on the professional workflow, or a little bit more information on why you should use a NAS. But if it did, please give this video a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next. And this is Honda. He does not like to be held, but he wants to go up into the attic. Okay.